after the procurement plan, we then draw our individual plan. Yes, the individual plan and the annual procurement plan, we then send it to PRAS. Yes, and we then start our procurement. Our procurement starts with the raising of a requisition. A requisition, and this requisition passes through a number of approval stages, starting from the head of department, the approval also recommended by the chief, the deputy clerk or the head chief director in the office. Then it goes to the chief director, finance, and finally it is approved by the accounting officer, the clerk. Then if that requisition has been approved, it is then submitted to the PMU. Yes, we then do our market survey or our market research about the item that is to be bought and the price that requirement cost. And then we then decide which...
When you say we, who does the market survey?
The procurement department.
The procurement department.
Yes. After determining all those, we then see the value of the total cost to ownership of that procurement. Then you decide the method to use. If the value is low, then ordinarily it's a request for quotation. But those higher values, then we use the tendering system. We will then apply Section 31, which is the competitive bidding. Yes, with the competitive bidding, we start by gazetting.
Chair, may you allow me to finish? We have asked you for a very long answer. We don't want distraction. Hold your hands.
Yes, we started by gazetting. After gazetting, in terms of Section 38, we then also publish the tender in widely read newspapers. And in this case, it was the Sunday Mail and the Herald Thursday. In this case, it was a domestic competitive bidding, which required the tender to be open for 20 days.
Honorable members, can I have the answer concise?
Yes, on the closing day, yes, the bidder submits their bids in a tender box that resides in our registry. Yes, and on the very day, we would have also invited through our standard bidding document, which is prepared by PMU using the specifications from the user department. We then open the tender using the tender opening committee. Yes, on the tender opening, during that process, in the presence of all bidders, and in this case, in the spirit of fairness and transparency, we then call out those quoted costs to all bidders to hear. We say them loudly. After after the tender bid opening process, those documents are taken to the procurement management unit, which are then submitted to the evaluation committee for evaluation. And then the evaluation starts. That's the first stage of evaluation. The evaluation committee starts by evaluating the bids and recommend a successful bidder to the PMU. And independently, the PMU would also do its own evaluation. That is the second evaluation. Yes, if there is any variance between the evaluation by PMU and the evaluation by the evaluation committee, then the evaluation, the PMU would then communicate with the evaluation committee and profile, and give those areas which they might have an oversight on. And then if there is then an agreement, the tender document, even the evaluation process is done. If it's below our bonds, we are in category A as a parliament. If the threshold is within our assigned threshold, we then award as parliament. But if it's above the prescribed threshold, we then send it to PRAS for SPOC review. Where SPOC would then also independently evaluate the bid. This is the third time now. And come out with the winning bidder, which they would then write to us that this is the winning bidder, can you go ahead and award? That's the bidding process. But with the request for quotation, the process is then start with the requisition. We at least source for 3 quotations, after which we consider the lowest to cost. And there is an element that I've left. As we also evaluate in the process, the evaluation, within the evaluation process, with the evaluation committee, with the evaluation, PMU evaluation, and also the SPOC evaluation, they would consider other issues like administrative, technical specifications, and lastly, after they have complied with all these, they will then consider the cost, the lowest cost to comply bidders.
You said it starts with the budget committee, you then follow the procurement plan, you do the requisition, there is then the PMU. Then after the PMU, you say you do market survey, research, you look value of total costs, then you then determine the method, whether it is requisition or you are going for competitive bidding. Is that right? Then after that, you then say you do if it is competitive bidding, you do adverts. US.
Sorry, we then prepare after we accepted our method, we then prepare a standard bidding document as prepared using the specifications that resides in the plan.
So you are saying the bidding document is done by the PMU.
Yes.
And after the PMU, you have done that. You then do the adverts. Okay. Then you then go to the tender opening. You said you have a committee. who oversees the tendering, the opening of the tenders?
It's any member of the, it's chaired by any member of the evaluation committee with the people from the PMU.
Then after that, once it is done, the PMU takes over.
Takes the documents,
Then you surrender them to the evaluation committee.
surrender them to the evaluation committee, yes.
Then the evaluation committee, when they are done, they send them again to PMU to do your own evaluation before you do the scope. My question was the linkage here. You told us earlier that the PMU, the evaluation committee has got the secretariat from the PMU. And if the evaluation committee has got someone from the PMU, I'm just wondering at what stage would the difference arise? Because you've got someone from PMU who also sit in the evaluation committee. And I just want you to educate us, normally how does the difference occur between the evaluation of the PMU and the evaluations committee? Is it a person of the PMU secretariat or the person that is supposed to advise the evaluation committee? Could they have missed something? What are the circumstances where the two can actually differ?
Yes, the evaluation of the evaluation committee is an independent evaluation where this person from PMU will be just directing in terms of the act, directing the evaluation committee. So he's not a participant, he's not involved in the evaluation. All he does is to observe and maybe direct in terms of the law.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. My question is, I've listened to the process that you mentioned. You mentioned that you also do the market research, where you then determine the price. Tell me how do you do your market research? For example, a layman like me, if I want to buy 10 mobile phones, I'll just go to the internet or to the provider, Samsung, Apple, and in 10 minutes I know roughly the prices. Now, you tell me, how does your department do your market research? How do you have somewhere where you look, or are we using different internets or whatever it is?
Thank you very much. With the PMU, what we do is, we don't buy what we don't know. So in some instances, we have to visit the suppliers of those items and interrogate about the item or the requirement, and we are given the specifications. At the same time, we are also told how much it costs. So we come back to our office well-equipped with that information, specifications and the cost.
So you go to you do your research, you go to any place that you have researched about, you look at this, you ask about the specifications. This is before you do the tender.
Before we do the tender,
you ask about the specifications and the cost of the product that you want to do. That's it.
Thank you, Honorable Mazimbore, then Honorable Liswa, in that order.
Thank you very much. You talked about the threshold. What are the values of that threshold? In some organizations, they can call those powers to determine, or they have a schedule where they say things worth so much are procured in this manner. Things above this threshold will be procured in another manner. What is the threshold that we have here in Parliament? That's the first question. The market current survey that you do, the results of the survey, at what point do you actually refer to the survey? Then the bidders, are they also witnesses to the opening of the bids? Then the last one, when you say a member of the procurement management unit sits in the evaluation committee to give directions regarding the law, are you saying that members of the evaluation committee are not conversant with the procurement laws? What is that direction that the person who we have adjudicated or dealt with the matter at the PMU level will then go and give directions to the evaluation committee?
The thresholds are determined by the Act. Let's start with the request for quotations, those that are below 10,000. That is if it's goods. And if it's services, that is below 5,000. If it's construction work, it's below 20,000.
What should be serious about particularly remember Zimbabwe, Maria has come in
Okay.
10,000 US, 10,000
These are US, United States dollars. United States dollars, yes. Below 5,000 if it's service, below 10,000 if it's goods, below 20,000 if it's construction work. That is request for quotation. Anything that is above that attracts tendering. So I say if it's construction work above 20, go to tender. If it's goods that is above 20 to 10,000, go to tender. Services above 5,000, you go to tender. That's what is in the Act. Yes, on the directions given by the procurement officer, yes, this relates to their function as the evaluation committee, in accordance with Section 80. And also in terms of how they should evaluate. Because in some instances we were saying they are evaluating in terms of the bidding document, the standard bidding document. So the marking scheme here is the standard bidding document. So that's where they will be extracting all those areas they would evaluate on. So you also direct it. Nothing outside the bidding document.
I see Mr. Chopra, your hand is up. You want to amplify on the answer?
Not to amplify on the answer, Honorable Chair. I think there is a misuse of words here. I don't think directing is the correct word. Advice is the correct word. Just like your committee clerk gives you advice, it doesn't direct you. I thought I would clarify this to all.
Thank you very much. That I think Honorable Mazimile was, that's why he asked, because he was worried, because directing is actually a serious supervisory role. Honorable Uliso?
I hope you have read the Act, but I would just like to say, do you understand that the accounting officer of Parliament, together with your procurement unit, staff and evaluation committee members, they are classified as procurement officers in terms of Section 71 of the Act. A, did you and your officers sign an undertaking to abide by the code of conduct in the public procurement, specified in section 7030 of the Act? And if so, I would request for the evidence. And then the accounting officer, if evidence is not provided, is in breach of undertaking as provided by section 74B(1) of the Act that refers to misconduct under Part 4 of the Public Service Act, Chapter 1604.
Thank you very much. I think there are specifically 2 questions.
I think the
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Honorable Minister. Yes, as you have just said, the Procurement Management Unit is a new department. However, those undertaking forms, we have them.
You have not signed.
We have signed. They are there in my office. We provide.
Okay, Honorable Shimona.
Thank you, Honorable Chair. Section 4, subsection 1 of the Public Procurement and Disposal of Public Assets Act, Chapter 22 and 23, requires that every procurement is effected in a manner that is transparent, fair, honest, cost-effective, and competitive, and that procurement contracts shall represent value for money. Subsection 2 requires that procuring entities give full effect to the objectives of the Act. Can you please explain how an award of laptops at over $9,000 and desktop computers at over $3,000 represent cost effectiveness and value for money when the market price is around $1,000 for laptops and around $450 for desktops?
Our processes, as I have indicated to you, Honorables, they are beyond reproach. They are watertight. They speak to the objectives of the Act. All that we do is fair. There's fairness in terms of how we conduct the process. There is also honest, there is also honest. The moment we start, if it's a bidding process, from the day we advertise up to the end, we don't speak to any supplier. Even if we were interacting with him or buying from him on other things, we don't. And also, when we give information, we don't zoom on the specific bidder. We give everyone the same information so that they bid. And in this regard, just as a barometer to show that the public has confidence in our tendering system, 92 bidders sought for the bid document, which is highly unlikely to be seen in any other procurement entity in the public sector. And the pet bidders then submitted their bids. If you also make any investigations, you will not find that high figure like that, meaning that they are very confident with our procurement system. And also our procurement system,
You think price is inflated?
and also
I think, Chair, can he answer the question? I think he invites trouble. He must answer the question. He was very cost effective, value for money. Let me ask the question. 9,000. You ask the question. He invites dogs to hound the team.
Stick to the question.
He mustn't preach us. Answer the cost effective.
No, but
Transparent.
my chair. No, you must rein him in. No, but you must rein him in. Let him stick to what has been put.
He was asked simple questions. Let him answer the question. There's no disturbing. You must stick to the questions and ask. Cost effective. Cost effective. Transparent. Value for money. 9,000 computers at value for money. What can I visit there when they're
The question was asked by Honorable Shinyangaya, and I'm seeing typing his answers, which means as far as we are going, he's getting the answer to his question slowly in that manner. Yeah. If there is anyone else who will give a supplementary...
Yes. Okay, Chairman. Okay. But he must answer the question. He's telling us high bidders. Tell us the bid in the 9,000.
What is going on in this organization?
I see where in the PR. 9,000. That's 3,000. Then we visited. Yes. Put their kids left to pay 9,000. You can visit all. He expected. My tablets, then my tablets. Talking of my tablets, okay, sorry, Chair. Thank you.
Let the chair.
The great chair, no TV.
Honorable Minister, iko zvine zvakupai kokupedzisira kuti munyarare panyaya answer yedu ibude eno vana anenge azoprocedure nekuramba achizuwa indaingatimire kuzoansa ibude. Let's not allow our emotions to overcloud. Tichasvika zvese zvatinoda zvibude zvinobuda ere zvobuda pazuva ranhasi. So relax, our answers will come. You were where you are. Yes. I hope you can proceed with the answer and proceed accordingly. Those next parliament, so it's also very normal. It is normal that is in English, then answer.
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I think I touched on the honest on cost on person honorable, and I'm also now touching on the element of transparency. Yes, during the tender opening process, we also advise the bidders that this is not the evaluation. They will be jotting some notes, and we tell them this is not the evaluation. There shall be an evaluation committee which shall evaluate these bids and a winning bidder will be then be advised. And all of you, even the losing bidders, will also be advised what and with what amount. And if you are, we also tell them that if you are not satisfied with the outcome, you come to my office, we will show you where you have missed it. It's very transparent, very clear.
So maringe matsanangura kuti ndozvotarisirwa
Yes.
kuti osenyiti
Yes.
maringe nemubvunzo wahonorable Chinyang'anya wanga uri specific uchibva paanswer yamama kupindura kwokutanga.
The processes were strictly adhered to.
Okay.
Yes.
You are satisfied? Okay, we go to it.
Yes, Honorable Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Fugla.
If you go to the statement that I issued on the 17th of September,
Yes, I want it.
we were very clear, Honorable Chair, that after doing our due diligence, which we do, on the 9th, I directed that we cannot proceed with this procurement because of the price. I personally, because I check prices of things, and I said a laptop with the specifications that I need could be roughly between 3.5 and 5,000 at most. And there was no way, as clerk of parliament, I would buy a laptop at that price on the 9th of September. That's the only correction that I make to my
I see
statement.
it's okay. I'll get to
9 September or 9 August.
That's 9 September. That's why I'm saying that's the only correction that I make to my statement.
Thank you very much. The ICT.
Okay, thank you, Chair. The specifications that the ICT department drew are in line with the industrial revolution that is taking place, which is characterized by the fusion of technologies such as 3D and the Internet of Things. So in the development of our current up-to-date ICT equipment specifications, we are already speaking to the changes that are taking place in the technological world. The Intel Core i7 processor and its associated specifications and accessories, they ensure the continued suitability and sustainability of the laptop in place. A laptop has got a lifespan of 3 years, but the specifications that were drawn up, it can still be relevant up to 5 years in terms of usability, reliability, scalability, and portability. The question about the brand, during the evaluation stage, that spoke to the specification that we were looking for was the HP Spectre X360, which is a 360X convertible touchscreen gadget that can function as a tablet or a laptop, bringing about...
We are taking down the specification.
Okay. I'm saying the brand is an HP Spectre X360, which is a 360X convertible touchscreen gadget, which can function either as a tablet or a laptop. And what this gadget does, it does bring about convenience in carrying out our parliamentary work. This laptop was targeted to our staff that have got a lot of mobile work, like committee clerks, researchers, budget office, public relations, and other departments. What I want to say to the meeting is that this was a holistic approach to the procurement for the first time for Parliament, although we've got interventions from our development partners, and we're also speaking to our agenda of 2030 of leaving no one behind. Now I'll speak to the specifications of those laptops. Currently, pertaining on the ground, we already got a Core i7 processor, but we settled for a Core i9 processor, but we settled for a Core i7 processor because we were looking at the standard requirement for plenary meetings like this, the virtual meetings like Zoom, because you've got Microsoft Teams that has got computing requirements that require us that at least we start from a Core i7 or better. So instead of us to go to Core I5, of which we had an experience with Core I5 when we went into the COVID era, whereby we started having challenges in the processing power when we were going into the virtual meetings. Then we, as a department, we settled for Core I7 what? Processor for scalability, like I alluded to the fact that it can have actually a lifespan up to what? Up to about 5 years. And then the screen, we're looking at portability and better corporate image, especially like for the portability, especially let's say for instance right now we are going for public hearings, we are going for the budget consultations. Those very same officers that save you are the same officers that are going on the ground to capture what is happening. So this ex-convertible laptop can now transform itself into a tablet when they are doing their consultations. Then when they go back to do their reports, then it's now a laptop. And then the memory, the standard for a Core i7, the standard is a 16 gig that will speak to the processing power, that they will speak to each other in terms of functionality. It would not be good for us to go for a Core i7 and then to the memory we go for 4 gig. So we are trying to match the specifications so that the computing processing power.
I'm sure we are clear on the specification and your intention. And you as the head of that department, can you confirm that that thing that you have described to us costs on the market? Because from his explanation, it seems the head of that particular department is the one who leads in the processes and identification of the things. Are you going to safely tell us that that one which you are explaining, turning itself into whatever it can, is on the market at 9,000 US?
I'm a technician.
Yes.
Yes, I'm a technician, Honorable Chair. As a department, we are responsible for providing ICT equipment, and that lives up to expectations, and the mandate is for our officers and even our members of staff to be able to work with minimal interruptions and in real time.
Yes.
No, but price, it's a simple
And I'm
process.
saying,
You're a technician.
Yeah, you also know what is in the market.
as a technician and the lead person in your department, to the same manner that you would say the person who is responsible for parliamentary work or for procurement would know the value of cars or purpose of purchase, roughly. You yourself, I just want you to tell this committee that you are saying, after all due diligence from the department, you are satisfied and you are happy, and that is the market value of 9,000, and for the desktop, the value of 3,000 that Honorable Chinyanganya is saying. That's all now I want to find from you. Because if it's also for other things, those ones who purchase other things which are not ICT, we will also ask the same question. Maybe you may tell us, are you saying those prescriptions 16 gig are going for 9?
Chair,
I'll come to you.
thank you, Chair. After we've done our due diligence, I think I was called on the 2nd of September, whereby I was advised that Plus had responded to our bids. In terms of pricing, where I said that is too exorbitant, because a laptop from, as we do our research in terms of specifications, as we come up with specifications, we also check on the pricing for sustainability and also for the budgets. Because when we prepare budgets, we also prepare budgets in view of the pricings. So this I advised the financial director, the chief director of finance, when he called me to his office, I said this price is too much, because we are looking at this laptop at a price range of 3,500 with the accessories. The most is about 4,500. So this is way beyond what is supposed to be paid for. And for the desktops, from as technicians as well, we said it cannot go beyond $1,000. According to the spec, because the spec that we had for the desktops was Core i5 and all-in-one desktop, not the tab, the keyboard and the mouse, and it's an all-in-one. So that's my submission, Chair.
Honorable Mateo, Honorable Chipama, in that order.
Okay. Just so you know, I did a quick research on myself on the X360 HP, the one that you touch screen. It costs 1,300. I don't know, maybe if you want to put more additional things in there. But so my question to you is, where did you do your research for the laptops? Where did you do your research? Where did you do your market research? Where did you do that market research? That's number one. Number two, where did you visit? Because you said that what you do due diligence, you check the price, and then you actually have to go physically on your bids. So where exactly did you go and do that visit? Then number three, how much did you and your department price the laptops? Because you said that you also do the pricing. So how much did you actually price the laptops? And do you agree that from what the director of IT has just said, that they thought the prices were far too much? Did you, in your market research, do you now agree with her that the prices that have been done at the end were actually too much? Those are my 4 questions. Thank you.
And maybe you may want to answer straight without
no stories,
explanations,
please.
but before that, I think Honorable Kwame is something that is writing directly to that, and I will allow you to write so that you answer it once.
Pane vakabhidha matitreti ndo vakabhidha mabidders price yavo yanga yakamira sei, maprice avo toda kuaziva because uyu ndianga the cheapest here ukaita kuti azotorwa kana kuti bidding yacho yanga yakamira sei, toda kubaziva ipapo. Ndo zvakakonzera kuti either pamwe muzomupika but toda kunzwa ipapa kuti pamabhidha apa kudaka makangoona vachingopenga vese nemaprice. We don't know.
Thank you very much. I'm sure the 5 questions are clear.
And please, through you, Chair, just specific to the, no stories about this, just specific answers. Thank you.
They ranged from, that is the desktops, they ranged from 87,295 each.
Can you give us in US dollars?
It's
US dollars.
Yes, sorry. For each laptop in US dollars, it ranged from 1,105 to 8,000.
Jesus Christ.
$8,827.62. That is for the desktops. Desktop. Yes, for the.
Yes. Can you just read out? I think those names are not too many, isn't it?
Yeah.
The ones that we did.
Yes. Yeah, it's in the public interest. Kunzi kauti company yakakota isi.
All right.
And you are glad.
Yes, we have 30 bidders here. There is Lancholin, that's a private limited. It quoted 1,105 USD dollars. We have Evangelic Solutions. It quoted $1,388.10
Do you have copies? Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm realizing your speed in the reading.
That's what I was going to propose.
Give us the copy, then we'll get that assessment.
The evaluation process, as previously advised by Mr. Beck, is done responding to the bid document. You start by eliminating companies, the bidders, based on their compliance to the bid document. I think there are 4 criteria that they use. You then evaluate those in terms of price at the end. After you have checked whether they comply with the documents, do they have are they price registered? Are they compliant with Zimura and all those things? They are things that are automatic. If you are not compliant, you fall by the wayside. That's the process that they do. Then at the end, they will then look at the price component. And it is from the price component, then you say, from those that are compliant, who is the cheapest? I thought it's important for us to share that.
Yeah. So in other words, did you finish the answer? Did you finish the answer?
They've got them to get
Collect documents, they are not on
Yes. Understand that there were a sequence of 4 questions from
Yes.
I wanted to clarify the submission from the branch. Can I ask? Tender reading the money to be rather split where there was a technical proposal and a financial proposal separately. It was just one document.
Sure.
This computer that you are using, what are the specifications? I see also it's the same computer that is being used by the clerk of Parliament.
It's a Core i7.
Yes,
it's the same spec that we tell us.
And you bought it for 9,000 also?
No.
You bought it for how much?
You don't have the answer of the end.
But these are simple questions. Was it for 9,000?
No, it was not.
6,000?
No.
5,000?
No.
4,000?
No.
3,000?
I think the range is between 3 and
3 and 4. Okay, but you can confirm that it has got all the specifications and also the software is the same with what you wanted to acquire for our parliamentary case.
No.
Yeah.
We have accessories.
No, the bag, we heard about the accessories.
Yes.
Yeah, the bags, laptop bags, everyone knows how much they cost and whatever.
Yes.
Those ones you are not worried. Thank you very much. So my second question, there are stages, because you have confirmed that when you did your investigation, you found out that the one that you thought was appropriately priced was 4.5. But you still allowed it to go through the different stages, being approved and being awarded at 9,000. Why? Was it an error in the debt?
That was an error.
It was in the
Yeah, it was a different error.
but a very fatal one.
Not very fatal one. You must also appreciate what I was going through when I was doing that statement.
Okay, no, it's fine. But when you wrote the letter awarding the tender, right? When was that date?
Last on
17th September.
yes, I can check because we have the letters.
Yeah, it's important because the dates are quite important because we want to see, because you are now saying that you then suddenly realize that the price was too much and you have to cancel. But also there's a cancellation by the secretary, permanent secretary of the finance. So we want to check the dates there to see who cancelled the first, at what point did you cancel.
What we did, through your Honorable Chair,
On 29 August. At least that's where the date stamp is.
that's my letter to
I think it was to one of the losing bidders who then sold you out by leaving it.
yes, because it's a requirement that at the end of the process,
Yes.
you must notify every person who did it.
So at that stage, you were now aware that the contract for laptops will be for 9,500.
No.
Sorry,
So, but,
Chair, just Honorable Wende, so that there is order. Honorable Wende spoke about a statement, talk about August 8-9, and you clearly said before us you made a mistake. And then this letter comes 29th August. You see, this letter comes 29th August. And you did not do anything to correct that mistake, and it's still in the public domain. It is the thing letter in terms of that thing press statement.
No, what I wanted.
Honorable members, may this be may questions be asked to Honorable to Mr. Chokuda, as we have always been doing, and he answers. I don't want him to be communicating to you.
Yes.
He must be answering to the committee. So lay your questions and he answers at once. Yes.
Murukuti panga pachifamba zvinhu zvese izvi manga musina ruzivo rwekuti parliament inoda kutenga malaptops e9000. Even pamainyora tsamba muchipa vanhu contract yekuti billiard investment maona contract ye1,000, 1 million, 1.6 million. You, at that stage you still didn't know that you are communicating to the to these companies that they've been given a tender to supply laptops at 9,500. Is that your evidence? That at the stage where you are writing, because your letter has got a price. On 29th of August, you didn't know that the laptops were costing 9,500.
What is that letter? Is the bulk price of the things that we buy. And it's a requirement that at the end of the tender process, we notify suppliers. We then go to the development of the contracts for supply, and then we request for payment from Treasury, which did not happen.
No. Let's not go there. So he has asked me to repeat. So I'm repeating.
Repeat the questions and then they will answer according to one of the
Because what we have here, we have a letter that you wrote, I think on the 29th of August, where you were communicating with the two suppliers that they've been given a contract to supply the laptops and the desktop. And your letter has got also the amounts of the laptops, the $9,000 amount. So my question number one was, on the 29th of August, were you aware that you are communicating this to this company and binding Parliament for the companies to supply laptops at 9,500? Do you consider that to be value for money? Do you think you performed your role in terms of the Public Finance Management Act and all other relevant acts of Parliament that bind you as the Chief Accounting Officer, right? And also, this other question is that do you have any evidence that at any stage you cancelled or caused this contract to be cancelled after the 29th of August when you wrote to these companies? And also, I saw in your letter you talk of a moral obligation. Do you have a moral obligation or a legal duty to make sure that the money is not stolen from Parliament as the Chief Accounting Officer? And my two last question, Honorable Chair, is that these two companies, were these the first tenders that they were given by Parliament, or they are your usual suppliers? If yes, what other tenders tenders have they been given in the past? And lastly, can we have the names of the directors of these two companies? Thank you very much, Chair. May God bless you.
Thank you for the supply of lessons. The Honorable Mr. Chokuda and your team kindly answer the four specific questions that Honorable Wende has asked.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair, and thank you, Honorable Wende, for the questions. My letter of 29th August was to communicate the outcome of the tender process, which I did. Then secondly, yes, I think I performed my responsibility as Member of Parliament to the fullest of my ability. And when I noticed the price and I was not happy with it, I duly advised that the tender be cancelled and be returned. And Yes, I do have evidence of my having requested the tender to be cancelled and re-tendered. The issue about moral or legal, personally for me, I have a legal obligation. I also have a moral obligation to this nation. Because I'm a public officer and I serve the nation, to me, I have a moral obligation to the nation to ensure that whatever I do, I did to do the best of my ability. And second, these companies, to the best of my knowledge, this is the first time that they've participated in our tenders. And I would not know of the directors of the companies because I don't deal with those. It's not in my ambit to know who is the director of which company. It's not my responsibility.
Okay, just
So
a
maybe
supplementary.
on that, Honorable, in terms of the knowledge of the director.
We indicated that there is still a process that still needs to be done, which is what we call the award of the tender itself through the contract, which is to me is the binding document.
But you demand to the one who contract the 9.5. It's a clear message. I don't know why he's dodging it. Because
I think yeah.
Honorable, this was a supplement directly to you.
I think
I'll come to you if it's a supplement.
the clerk, with due respect, must carry the cross. This is the letter you wrote, if our English is not mistaken. It's brief. Reference, notification of award, supply and delivery of laptops, 173 laptops and 79 all-in-one desktop. Tender number, you put it there. Parliament of Zimbabwe, OZDOM 01-13/2022. I take this chance to appreciate your efforts. This is to a losing person. Your efforts for the supply and delivery of 173 laptops and all-in-one desktop. The evaluation committee was impressed by your documentation and how you presented your bid. The award for the supply and delivery of 173 laptops and 79 all-in-one desktop was awarded. Was awarded. Chair, I need your attention. Honorable Treasury, it would be nice for you not to talk to the chairman when one is, what you call it? No. So the desktop was awarded to the following bidders, whose bid was more responsive to the proposed requirements. We cannot sit here and me look into your face and I went to school, I studied English. And I'm very clear, unless your English is different. And at times as a man, you must be honest and say, I made a mistake. That's it. Not for you to take us around and waste the country's time and put this institution into disrepute. And then you went to then say, is that a question? Lot number 1, bidder, Belmet Investments, PLC, description 173 laptops, total price 1.6027577, payable after interbank rate. You then go to number 2, mid-end computers and hardware PL, private limited, 79, description 79 desktops, total 243.05236, payable at interbank. Thank you for your efforts and time. Say bye-bye. And then you sign. And you sign this letter on the 29th of August. And you sit there, and chairman, let me finish. And he sits there, and he says no to his letter. The best you could do is to say it was a fake signature. Not for you to sit there as the chief accounting officer of this parliament. For as long as I'm here, you don't deserve. That's what I'm saying. Pack your bags and go. This parliament is in a mess because of you. Look at the internal audit, nothing is done. And you want to be a blue-eyed boy of who? Our own reputation is at stake because of you. You want the politics here. You go to some people to defend you when you have made such an error. He is lying. He cannot sit there and lie to us and make us angry. With his dogs who are barking. With his dogs who are barking. He's got his dogs who are barking. You cannot do
question? What is the question?
He must pack and go, resign. He cannot be lying to us.
Is that a question? I'll proceed.
I have a right to comment, Honorable Right. I'm not like you. Naika.
Honorable.
I just want to know after you communicate with them that the contract was.
I hadn't finished, Honorable Chachakoma had not finished. And then Honorable, and then I had not finished. I had not finished. And then you have another letter that you write again. I've not finished. I want to finish. I want to finish, Chair. So that's the first letter. That's the first letter. You rush in panic to issue a statement. Then you write this letter again, trying to firefight. Then there is a letter from Treasury, the permanent secretary, writing to you, advising you that that is impossible. We cannot at all accept that. And this was the letter from Treasury, written on the 14th of September 2022. Attention to Mr. K. Chokuda, Clerk of Parliament. Reference tender award for the supply and delivery of laptops and desktops. It goes, reference is made to the above subject matter. It has come to Treasury's attention that Parliament of Zimbabwe has awarded a tender for supply and delivery of laptops and desktops to the following companies as below. I name those companies. Treasury notes with concern that these suppliers are charging $9,254 and $3,075 61 cents for a laptop, which is a desktop. So basically what I'm saying to this at the end of the day, he copies it to the Minister of Finance, the Chief Secretary of Cabinet, the Auditor General, and so was the Permanent Secretary wrong? How did he reach to this letter? Some communication had gotten to him to disburse money. So to me, what was his response to the Permanent Secretary then? That's my question. What was his response to the Permanent Secretary after the Permanent Secretary wrote this letter?
Thank you, Honorable Chair. The letter from Treasury, I first saw it on social media. I was in Lawai for a workshop. I then saw the letter when I got back in the office on Monday, the following week. If you read the letter from Treasury, Honorable Chair, it says it has come to our attention. It is not saying, Parliament, you have written to us to request any resources, because I never requested for any resources. What we have, Honorable Chair, so that we also have a complete record, because we are purchasing things for the new Parliament building, and we have evidence of what we had requested prior even to the awarding of the tender, because we have always been in constant communication with Treasury to say we have things that we have won.
What was your response? Chair, simple. What did you respond or you did not respond? That's it.
May you allow me to answer Honorable Minister? I think where is going.
All I wanted was yes or no. Did you respond or did not respond?
No, I think the answer, you did not say answer yes or no, you are saying no, but I think the answer is very important.
Did he respond or did not respond? That's it. Because
he said he didn't respond.
Chair, did he respond or did not respond?
I responded, Honorable Chair.
Makaite kumisa ndovu makaite kumisa tender angaite maprice kakumisa
isusu hatina kumisa asi takakumbira vakavati tipewo nevasipo kuti tikanzure kana kuti tinegotiate.
Okay.
Okay, it's okay.
For date rakapiwa advice. Okay.
There's another question on whether we have dealt with these two companies before, or anyone in any bid was any bidder was amongst those whom we have dealt with before. Yes, amongst the list of 30, there were some that we have dealt with before. But these two, it was for the first time.
I know who's behind that. Say it. I know who's behind that.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Chair.
Government person, I know who's behind that.
We have sat with Honorable Commerce persons. We have not had any challenges in the past with any tenders, not at all. And also, as it today, unless there is something that has come to my office while I'm here, we have not received any response from the companies concerned. And Honorable Shoriwa, yes, we have all the documentation in place related to this tender from start to where we are today. The payments are there. Then modalities for payments, I will start, then perhaps Samada will then complete. What we do is when we do procurement, we then submit documents to Treasury requesting payment, because we start the process in the PFMS. We request payment, they then put the money in our account, we do the transfers. In respect of payments in RTGS, it depends on the nature of the supply, and as clearly stated in the letter, we only pay in RTGS after delivery. Do you assist in provision of foreign currency? That's responsibility of RBZ. What we simply do, if a company is having challenges, we write to confirm that these are supplying 1, 2, 3 for Parliament. We don't assist them in getting foreign currency from RBZ.
Did you write for this too?
We had not gone to the stage where we had done any tender with them, so there was no need for us to write anything in their respect.
They are given an auction rate. It's just clear that it's an auction rate.
Okay, then Honorable Raidza, the question relating to the Secretary for Finance, I don't want to speak on other people's behalf. What I indicated, Honorable Chair, you read the statement from the Secretary for Finance, it says it has come to our attention. It is not saying we are responding to a response, because normally in government, when I respond to a letter,
on the point of it, he cannot say the payment will respond on his own, but he wants to explain the payment secretary's letter. We shall call him ourselves, so don't explain what the payment secretary wrote. But what Dr. Explain this.
When I respond to your letter, I refer to your letter, and usually we quote the reference and the date on which you write to me. That's how we do our standard letters. Then Honorable Madzimire, I think that's what Mr. Debo will respond to, issues to do with minutes of the evaluation committee. I think that's what Mr. Yes.
What we simply need is an undertaking like yesterday, that all those minutes and paper sales are submitted to CAC within 48 hours.
Yeah, the file we have.
Yeah. So we just want that confirmation in the undertaking that within 48 hours, those documents will be supplied to CAC.
In terms of knowing our suppliers on Chair, we rely on the specifications that go into the tender document, because it will ask whether you are compliant with the ZIMURA registered company and so forth. Because if we start going to companies and say, who is your director and so forth, we run the risk of us being accused of conniving with any of the companies. We don't do that. Have you previously dealt with that has been responded to? What have you done to the officers concerned? Honorable Chair, we have not made decisions on anything on this matter, because there are other things that are also happening. And personally, I don't react to issues that are out there in the environment. I want, when I make a decision, to be able to make a decision that I can stand with. And
Which issues are?
You are busy writing letters every day.
But you,
Under the letter,
and come back to one my offices are in a computer 9,500. That's why what we are asking, can you act on that? Because you said you realize with my officers and they are buying computers for 9,500.
But kunyora matsamba vari kunyora vari kumhanya nyora matsamba